And just like that, we are live. Peace and Black Power family. Welcome to another episode of Do Knowledge Radio. Playful Knowledge is Bonus. It's your host, Knowledge Born a Lot. And we got the shotgun for shotgun in the building. You understand what I'm saying? We got the shotgun for shotgun in the building. We got warrior, God and sister here to give us some ray, okay? Some sunshine, and some love, some care, some patience, some prosperity, you know what I'm saying? All that. She got all that for us today. So without any further ado, it becomes my honor and privilege at this time to present the others and welcome back to the platform. You know, major staple over here. Our sister, Afrikan Warrior Sista Rae in the building. What up, what up, what up, what up, what up?
Indeed, indeed. Peace
You on
and
the East
Black
Coast,
Power
like I talk to
family.
you like that now. Like, what up, what up, what up, what up, what up?
A BB for Hodier.
I be
My
too good.
boy. That's right. That's a man. That's all I've been writing. So
Yeah.
that's all I've
How you
been.
feeling?
And
Huh?
I'm
How you
feeling
feeling?
good. I'm feeling
Okay.
absolutely righteous. Man, just getting there from my 10,000 steps with Sister Keisha. We had the bike and hike. She had the bike and hike, and I came to support. So that was nice. Really, really, really nice. Beautiful day. Hmm.
That's what's up.
I
That's
did the
what's
hike
up.
part though. I didn't do the bike part. So
You walked it
yeah,
out?
man, I walked it out many miles, and met some very interesting people in New York. These are yeah, interesting New Yorkers. Very lively, indeed,
Lively.
lively.
Yeah.
I
You know
appreciate
what I'm
that.
saying? I'm in New York, you
Yeah,
know what I'm saying? We out there. We got, you know what I'm saying? It's Sunday. I
all of
don't
that,
care. Yeah.
all of that with the knowledge though. Like they have some truth to speak, and they know what they talking
Yeah.
about too.
Yeah.
That's one thing I can respect. Like even with all of the regional culture, it's still alive. Like they gonna put it on the brain.
Somebody said, "Why didn't you tell me?" They talking to you. I know they ain't talking to me. Okay, I don't know
Well,
what's
I
going
don't
on.
know who that is.
I
Facebook
don't know
user.
who that is either. You know
I,
what I'm saying?
it was on
Whoever it
Instagram.
is, they
It was
said
on.
they need some. They got some concerns. Some
Hey,
questions.
listen. Whoever it is don't know because I'm stealth. I'm stealth.
Right.
Those who know, they know. But I'm glad you made it.
Right.
Whoever you may be, beautiful soul.
Yeah. Whoever you is.
I'm glad you're here. But
Right.
yeah, so and I thought it was so fitting to just speak with you tonight after Sister Keisha's event, because we're talking about that physical aspect of health and being balanced, as well as the spiritual component, right? And so I think people go to the workout and think that it's just about that balance, right? Losing the weight, feeling good, looking good, um, getting toned up, physically fit, and we don't necessarily give the same amount of attention to our spiritual balance, grounding, right? And our mental. Now, technically, when we talk about the spiritual, that is the psyche. That is where our feelings and our emotions come from. So, yeah, to have done the work today physically, and then to come through and decompress and just balance out the whole body from head to toe. This was a very, very fitting day for that. Hmm.
That's what's up. Well, we here with the goddesses. You know, we need some Black goddess empowerment. So, what's some things that you would like to share? You would like to talk about in regards to this Black Goddess Empowerment series, and also like what are some things that you learned along the way that you wish that somebody would have put pulled your coattail, put you on,
Yeah.
along the way that you had to
Um,
learn on your own. You got the scars to prove. You're like, oh yeah, that's what I got that
man,
scar from.
right. Those war wounds, because it's always a battlefield, right? Man. So, it wouldn't be the physical part because I've always witnessed my parents always working out, always had a gym membership. I'm prior military as well, so I haven't lost that aspect of the military, and I still go hard today. Spiritually, I was groomed, reared in Christianity, so now I practice Ifa. It is that, and it is a learning process because what I found out is that it's people can be dogmatic no matter if it's spirituality or religion, right? It's almost like people just cling to something to be able to feel, right, or to escape and not really take responsibility for our reality. Um, I'm navigating that now. Um, and I appreciate the way that I am experiencing it. So there's nothing about spirituality that I would have wanted somebody to tell me prior to. And I believe wherever we are, whatever space we're in at any given moment, is where we need to be in order to learn. But when it comes to our psychology, our mental health, behavioral health, that part of life that requires consistent, frequent maintenance. I wish someone would have imparted that to me. It's not just, and I think in the Black community, we are so bombarded with responsibility that we neglect mental health. We do what needs to be done when it needs to be done, and then on to the next, and then on to the next, right? And so it's difficult for us to teach those coming after us what to do if we're not doing it ourselves. So for me, that mental health is something that I wish would have been um, taught and shown, because some of us are observers more so than you just talking to me. You could talk all you want, but if I'm looking at what you're doing and it's not lined up, I'm more likely to do what you're doing versus what you're telling me to do, right? So for me, what I've learned along the way is that it is imperative, if you yourself are not aligned, calibrated, and if you're not balanced, right, then it's difficult to be a help, to be a source for someone else, a valuable source, right? Because whatever it is that you may be feeling, regardless if it's apparent on the outside, we all know all that is within, it will always somehow come out externally. So that maintenance that is imperative. Mental health maintenance is imperative. And so my background is social work, adult mental health, alcohol, other drugs, and addictions, right? And I went into that field due to my experiences growing up in the hood, which really you never know what environment you're in until, as far as the normalization of the activities. So sex, drugs, guns, liquor, all of that is normal, right? If you live in it on a day-to-day basis and you never seen anything other than that. But when you learn something different, when you leave outside of your community, your residential community, and you see the way that other people are living, and then you go to get that Urugu education and get into the books, and you learn to visualize where you want to see your people go, if you have that consciousness anyway, because there's a lot of people who just in school to be in school. But once you get there, for me, once I got there and I learned to have a vision and see that I wanted us to improve our condition, only because what I was reading scientifically let me know we weren't well off, right? We was just getting by. We weren't thriving. We're just surviving. Without an understanding of how we became to be where we were at the time and where we are now. There's a lot of us still need some work. So that education, coupled with the my personal experiences, let me know that even then, coming from education, when I talk about social work and adult mental health and AODA, all therapists need therapists. They are not exempt from, or we are not exempt from that maintenance, because we're still human. We are not above treatment, right? So, yes, to answer your question, it would be the behavioral health. And I tell my sons all the time, be careful of the things that you consume, because a part of that is spiritual as well. We talk about soul, we talk about spirit. And for me, that the soul is who you have come back as, that center part of you, right? That part that is going to get you through your mission. But your spirit, that's something that you have to be very cognizant of, because that can be ever changing if you don't if you aren't yourself anchored, right? That's why we have people who do who join certain organizations and give them a regimen. It gives them something to focus and concentrate, so then that way they don't go too far off the path of their mission, right? It's a routine. But that spirit is something else. Like I was saying earlier, just a few seconds ago, when I tell my sons, you be careful of what you allow yourself to absorb, whether it's a physical touch, because everybody can't touch you. We talk about don't let nobody touch your hair. Don't let nobody touch your skin. Be careful of that. Be careful of the things that you listen to. Be careful of the things that you intentionally watch. You can't help all the things that you might hear or see, right? But the things that you do have the power to control, be intentional, because it affects your mind as well. It's not just the things that you go through on a day-to-day basis when you have interactions with people, or for some people, just themselves. Because I know for me, I'll be like, sometimes I get on my own nerves, for real. So I can't imagine what everybody else going through. So yeah, all of that plays a part on the psyche. So to answer your question, yeah, it would be that mental health aspect and taking care of yourself.
Now, what about healing? Healing from traumatic experiences, healing from, the stress associated with being an African in the hells of North America.
Oh man.
What are some tips in healing with trauma?
Okay, so there are so many different variations of trauma. And what's traumatic to you may not be traumatic to me. So I get clients that come in and they say, well, such and such, my friend, and you're not your friend. Your path may be very different. And what your treatment is, what I apply to you might not be for them, right? So as far as the healing aspect for Africans, what I did was I took control of my environment, as opposed to just getting up and doing the same routine of get up, go to work, and I'm around people who aren't aligned with my values. I'm around people who can't really sew into me because maybe they're not necessarily African centered. They look like me, but they are westernized. What I did was search for people, literature, and individuals who were African centered. I started watching the YouTube videos for real. I started searching for events. I'll go in wherever my people are. Wherever my people are, I will go there and interact. And I'm a loner for real. Like I am to myself, but I knew and I know that there is so much work that needs to be done. I can't do it by myself. And there are people who are more seasoned in this, in being African centered and doing the work in nation building. So I had to go a step outside of myself. I had to get uncomfortable and seek it out. And for me, that's a part of my healing, because it's not just our the experiences that we know that we personally go through. It's historic, it's genetic. It's all that our ancestors have been through that we carry through our DNA. And I think you can't necessarily get that from an individual who doesn't have that understanding. Because we could say go to therapy and get counseling and do all that, but if you're not connected, if a person doesn't necessarily understand who you are as an African and who we are as Africans, that's difficult. So for me, that is an unconventional therapy where really you are seeking to align yourself with individuals or with a community, not individuals, with a community whose activities are aligned with what it is that you need to have an understanding from within, so you can begin to practice the things like we have Sacred Woman, Queen Afua, or Man Heal Thyself, Queen Afua. Those books take you on a journey through a cleansing process, right? And so in doing that, that's really a full body experience, but it's for us, right? So something that we need to do, but then that anybody could get that book and go through the process, but the community around you, the people, your support system, have to be aligned with who you are as an African. So that's what, for me, I would say for that healing process, sometimes you have to disconnect. You have to do an audit. I was just talking today with one of my friends about a relationship audit, meaning anyone that you have a relationship with, people that you interact with. Do as much as you sow into them, are they sowing into you? Is it always a matter of them taking or receiving from you all the time, or are they making deposits? And if so, what type of conversations are you having? Right? That makes a difference, because what we know is words are spells. So the things that you speak are what you're instilling into you and your being. Be careful of the words you speak, or the things that you think, because they become your words. Your words become your behavior. So in those conversations, what type of conversations are you having? You need to be having conversations with people who are going in the direction that you're going in. But when you talk about African centered, whatever it is, the topic of discussion has to be somehow edifying to the continent, edifying to the people, us, the people of the continent, right? If it's not that, what are you doing? So it's really self-awareness. Self-awareness for that healing process is very important, because if you don't have an understanding of where you are, who you are, then that healing is going to be quite difficult, because then you possibly run into the potential of putting band-aids on things that are just symptoms, right? They're symptoms. They're not the root cause of what's going on. So whatever it is, you have to delve into self. And again, disconnect from the things that are not African. Now some of us go to the plantation, and like for me, when I go and I do what needs to be done and I leave. When I leave, that stays there. When I'm there, all discussions are pertaining to whatever it is I do there. I don't allow anything to be deposited into me that is not where I'm trying to go as an African. So you have to know where to cut that off, or you have to know to cut that off, right? And the things that are substantial are what you invest the most time into. So for the healing process, it's very important to have people around you who are like-minded, who understand race first, who understand that, and let me clarify what race first is to me, because it's not across the board for me. If it's outside of the African community, it's race only. Race first applies for me inside of our community. So you can be African centered and be of a different spiritual system. But as long as when we come together and we do the work, we know we're coming together on the basis of race first. So if you happen to be Christian and I am an Ifa devotee, we're not going to let that get in the way of us doing this work, because the work is race first, right? If some people still like sports and stuff, I'm not, I don't subscribe to any of that. But just because that's what you do and I don't, I'm not going to say, oh, well, you into the propaganda, you into distractions, I'm not going to deal with you. No, I can still build with you, because this is a race first effort, right? So in that healing process, you have to know that in being African, all things that you do, all things that you are working toward is for Africa, right? You have to have a guide. Now, if you just out here wayward, any path will lead you anywhere. And if you don't have any control, it'll keep you there. So having some type of a context, which would be race first, and then aligning yourself with people who are like-minded in that. It's a difference between being pro-Black and being African-centered. So let's be clear about that as well. So when you say Africans in the hills of North America, then we're talking about the African-centered. Pro-Black, that's a whole nother group. Whereas my skin is Black, and I love Black people, and I'm for the cause, but I got a couple white friends. But we don't have no friends, so how does that work? But they're pro-Black. So there's a difference, and that's important to know in that alignment, because you'll find yourself being connected to people who are not walking that path, who may straddle the fence, and trust is very important. I'm not. I can't be on the front lines with somebody who gives passes, right? So when we say African centered, so here in North America, that healing process, you have to be very aware of who you allow yourself to interact with, who you allow in your space. You say it all the time, everybody don't qualify. And in that means some people you might have to cut off in your relationship audit. Everybody ain't gonna make it. I'm not a respecter of titles. I do not care about family. You my cousin, you my auntie, my uncle, my mama, my son. Those are titles. I do character, because if you violate, I can't give you a pass just because you my cousin. Violation is a violation. That's how we get infiltrated. Oh, well, we grew up together, so I had to. No, we on a mission. And so when you are healing, that is your time to be self-centered. I don't really want to say selfish, but you have to be self-centered. If it's not something that is going to help you aid to your ascension, if it's not helping you grow in the direction where, for me, it would be a BB for Hodier, then it's not for me. That's your time to be self-centered. And so anything that is out of balance, out of alignment with self in the direction that you're trying to go, got to be cut off. It has to, for me, it must be cut off. I don't do dead weight. We have enough work to do as it is. So as far as Africans here, make sure you have people, and I'm saying what I'm saying because I'm relatively new to the African Center community. So I guess it would be, what's this, 2020, for the past, 4 years? 4 years, I've been on this quest for a BB for Hodier before I knew that was a term, and that's what it was that I was doing. Yeah, it was a matter of paying attention to who was doing the work and doing it righteously, because there's a lot of people who be false flagging, and it look like they're doing the work, and it sound good, and they charismatic, and they make you feel good, but it's not that. So you have to keep your eyes open and pay attention, not just to the lip service, the actual work that's being done, and making sure that whatever it is that is aligned with you, and you'll feel it. Your intuition don't lie. It's when your brain get into the mix of it and you start trying to justify and rationalize is when we start going astray. But the company you keep is very instrumental in that healing process, especially when you are on unfamiliar terrain. It is not wise to go it alone, because you can end up anywhere, right? And we don't want to end up anywhere. We want to end up where we're going, which is world African sovereignty. So having a clear vision, the mission, clear vision of the mission. So with that understanding, you have to know your purpose. You have to know your purpose. Otherwise, again, you're just wayward.
That's right. I'm an African liberation devotee. That's my religion. That's my spiritual system. That's my
Ashe.
cultural reality.
Ashe. Ashe. And likewise.
The death of my enemies, the death of our enemies, foreign
That's
and
an art.
domestic, internal and external, whoever they are, wherever they are. That's my African-centered purpose and program. Shout out to Bob Ruby.
Right. And we see it though. We see it in the work that you do, and especially when you speak. You bars none. But that's the way that it should be, right? That's how we know what's real.
So we had our time, so we're gonna end it with give us a final strong message to, to our sisters out here, to the mothers out there, to the to the daughters out there, to the nieces, to the aunties, to the grandmamas, to African warrior, divine feminine. Give us some words, some parting words, some really dilly, some of that Ray.
I would say understand that you are the one to make the change. You don't allow, just because you're in Babylon, don't allow Babylon to change you. Know who you are, and you make the change, right? We all have our unique skill, talent, gift. You use that toward your mission for liberation. Anything outside of that is counterproductive to the mission. So I would say stay centered and understand that everything that's done is done with purpose, on purpose. There's no such thing as coincidences. So if it happened, it took place, that's what was meant, right? But understand that you have power, you have the control to be able to make the difference that's necessary to propel you and your people to our people toward a Bibi Fahodie. It's not about what anybody else has come along and sold you and made you believe, or was passed down from generation to generation just because it was tradition without an understanding of what that tradition was anchored in. Right? So be who you are as it relates to race first, a Bibi Fahodie. Anything other than that is treasonous. Ashe?
Ashe. Ashe. So I finally found who wrote the comment, and it's Robert Marcus Klein. So Robert Marcus Klein said, "Why didn't you tell me?" Okay. So make sure y'all go over to Freedom Home Academy.
That is
National,
FHAINTL.net. .net.
Okay, excuse me. I don't know.
Yes. That's Foxtrot Hotel Alpha India November Tango Lima. Well, you.
They're like, who?
Yes, FHAINTL.net.
All right. So yeah, it's going down. Yeah, it's going down. So thank you for the time. And we got a series coming up we working on.
So October 17th, 18th, Prophecy of the Prophet. Absolutely. Mm-hmm. Yes. So that is www.dtc1.org. That's Delta Tango Charlie, the number 1.org. You laughing at me? There we go. Prophecy of the prophet. We are honoring our warrior, our Safo, Nat Turner. Indeed. And his birthday is what, the 3rd? Indeed. Speaking of October, there is, we're honoring the Black Panthers as well. There's a lot going on in October.
It is.
They have Black History Month in the UK as well, correct?
Right. Right. A lot of stuff going on. It's a whole list.
It is. It is. So everybody show up. And
Muhammad, it's a super list in October. For me, a good opportunity. See some warriors again.
Yes, because that 100 years in the world, man.
Yeah, I read up
that ain't coming back around for another 100 years. Right? And that was powerful. So matter of fact, Baba Marcus Klein had a whole block to itself. It was live. Right. It was live. Where our babies need to be, right? In front of us.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And now I would speak to that as well. Don't think and this pandemic that we are experiencing, this is an opportunity because they already letting you know, hey, if your child can't come in the building, they got to stay home. Look for our Baba Marcus Kleins. Look for our, what is his name? Samori?
Yeah, Baba Samori.
Yes. And where he's in Ghana?
Yep.
Yeah. Now I can't remember the website, but we have educators. We have educators. So look into our online academies or our academies who have an online option. If you got to be home with them, you might as well be teaching them about us and preparing them. We have Akobin House. Well, Akobin House, I believe, is the publishing. Akobin Institute is the educational facility. Yeah, that's the Baba Baruti and Mama Baruti and Aya Baruti. Yeah. So we're out here. We're out here. We have the resources for ourselves.
Kamali Academy.
Kamali Academy. Kamali.
And we got Uhuru Academy. We got Baba Mima in
Texas.
We got Kubota and his IX Institute.
Yes, that's here in New York. Or over there in New York. Yeah.
We got schools out there. Plenty of them. Queen Taizi.
Baba Tashango.
Right, Baba Tashango.
Yes. Yes.
African Liberated Homeschool for Queen Taizi. So it's a bunch of places that's out. And if you don't have a co-op in your area, you got to get with one of these schools out here and establish a co-op based on ASAP. So, if it's going to be the reality for the foreseeable future, and you're not training, you're leading your family into the slaughter.
Absolutely. Because you're comfortable with what was given to you. It's easy, right? But like I said, for me, it's time to get uncomfortable. It's time to get uncomfortable and start being so skeptical about our ability to teach our own. When I tell you Freedom Home Academy, they prepare the children to be what we need them to be. Not just, oh, what you want to be. And that's taken into consideration, absolutely, but they're looking at the strength. They're building the strength within the students, right? It's almost like it's second nature to them. I sat in the class on Thursday and I was just like, I've been mispronouncing duodenum for the past 20 years. These children have it. Learning pre-med, learning business law. Who babies are doing that before the age of 12?
Right.
Who else children are taking the ACT, SATs, these standardized tests at the age of 10, 12 in college, already accepted into programs, nursing programs by the time they 15, 16 years old? This is not just us saying, oh, don't let the cracker teach our babies. It's not just that. They're actually being prepared to be in position for us to be sovereign. Otherwise, we'll allow our children to continue to do the things that we did when we didn't know any better. It's beyond time to cut that out. It's beyond time. So absolutely. Akaban Institute, Kamali Academy, FHA International, which is Freedom Home Academy. Who did you say? Uhuru?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. African Liberation.
www.uhuruacademy.org or www.uhuruacademysc.org. Either one.
Yeah. Yep. Yep. Don't box yourself in, because we've allowed ourselves to take on that which was given to us because we felt like we had to, because we thought that there was no other option. You have to think outside of the box. Just because it was presented to you does not mean that that is the only option. Right? You have to look outside of that. Any and everybody will try to sell you something. You have to look beyond that or create for yourself. We are not obligated to take just what's on the table. Yeah, so we have options out here. We have options. My choice, my option was FHAINTL.net.
That's for real. So we out of here. It's been a very interesting weekend. Okay, shout out to all of the goddesses that came through and pulled up today and yesterday. It was going down.
Yeah, y'all got me spending money. I'm buying skin products and all types of stuff.
Right.
Yeah, the sister selling gold or teaching you how to exchange gold.
Right.
Yeah, but and all of that, which we do on the external, we have to make sure we do that internal work. We must do that internal work. Otherwise, it will continue to keep showing up. If you have not learned your lesson, it will. You wonder why you keep going through the same thing, why you have patterns of pathology, because you didn't learn it. You have not learned the lesson. And it's not always the people on the outside. We are attracting our reflection. So you have to be accountable, hold yourself accountable. You have to be responsible for whatever your part is in the situation. And it sounds messed up to say sometimes, because sometimes we go through some traumatic situations. But how did we get to where we are? And where do we go from there? How do we mend that and move on from there? And then provide preventative measures for those who are coming after us. That's what we should do, right?
That's right.
All right. Listen, don't say nothing else because it's gonna make me say something else, and we're gonna be on here for an hour. And we last time we was on here 4 hours. Not as one alive.
We do got a
Huh?
series coming up, right? We're gonna be dealing
Yeah.
with some Black veterans and hearing their story.
Oh yes. Yes. Our veterans. Our veterans, Black veterans.
Yeah, I
Absolutely.
got to say Black veterans because
Yeah, not all of them.
all veterans don't matter. Okay,
Oh,
all veterans,
you sound like me. All lives don't matter.
all veterans don't matter. None.
That's man, yeah,
Even people,
powerful.
you say shit like all lives matter. They kill animals and eat them.
Mm. All lives can't matter.
Yeah, the life
Carnivorous
don't
ones.
matter. You know, the chicken life don't matter. But you get to make one of them dogs now. You know,
Hmm.
put in jail for them dogs.
Man, lock you up and throw away the key for real.
Dog lives matter.
Their humanitarian deed. Hmm.
Ain't nothing human about it. Oh well.
Mm.
Yeah, so we got that coming up, soon.
We're gonna put that in motion for certain because we need to hear of those experiences. It's so I'll tell you, don't say nothing else. Here we go. What time is it? But yes, we absolutely need to hear the perspectives, the experiences of every facet of our community, right? Oh, what happened? Hey, where did I go? Um, okay. Oh, because it makes a difference in how we interact with one another, how we understand one another. Because once you done got roped into the conditioning and programming of I don't even want to say it's just not just Western, it's just Urugu, period. Right? Once you've been conditioned into that mindset, into that culture, it's their culture, then sometimes we misinterpret or we don't communicate from an African centered place. But if you are able to hear and understand what our experiences have been, it might help a little bit in those areas of communication and being able to build from there, right? Once you have an understanding and not looking at each other like we're foreigners, right? Even our brothers in the because that's where Black August derives from, the political prisoners, even them, we cannot neglect them, you know. So yeah, that series is coming for our Black veterans. And see, for me, in my mind, everything is about us, so forgive me when I don't specify, but yeah, everything regarding Sister Rae is for the Africans. You be over there doing some real
Multitasking shit.
not just multitasking, but you over there being a whole investigator and everything.
Everything. It's a lot going on. So
It is. It is so dark in here.
it's 3 series that got announced today.
Oh, huh?
Three series got announced today. So a
Okay.
couple of more coming. My goal is to add 10 more series before the year is out.
10.
10 new series here on Two Nouns Radio.
So you're at what now? How many are you at now?
3.
You're at 3. We have 7 more to go.
Yeah, 7.
Okay.
7 more to go.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm gonna be in your inbox.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
They're not free now. I don't want nobody coming to me asking for a free series. Like, hey, I need a series. We got some discounts, but it ain't free.
Okay. Well, we don't want no broke revolutionaries.
I mean, because it's your series, and I've done things like that in the past, and people excited. They excited for like maybe 1 or 2 episodes, and then that's it. Then it become like work, and I don't want to work. I don't mind laboring. I don't want to work though. You understand? I don't want to work. I don't mind laboring. It's a labor of love, but I would not be wasting my time, though. For real.
That's real, because that is an investment.
And I ain't gonna waste their time. So
reciprocity.
There's another series that's coming. So it's actually for So there's another series that's coming, an Afrofuturist series, and I'm excited, to welcome this brother and the people that are going to be coming with him. We say like Black comics and stuff like this. Like he's definitely one that's going to come with it. So if we're looking at icons and superheroes, and Black imagery in regards to comics and characters, they're coming
uncompromisingly.
Yeah.
Right, because we have a lot of people who think, oh, well, I got to at least throw one in, got to throw a token in, so I can get. We're not doing that.
Ain't nothing super about no fag.
None of that.
Hero.
That's not a hero. A hero.
That's a zero. We out though. Thank you.
I be before you.
For coming through and showing love and ending off an amazing weekend. Truth and love and empowerment. Okay. Appreciate you. Do we say appreciate
you?
Appreciate. Do we say appreciate?
Appreciate. Apostrophe PRE. Yeah. Appreciate. Have it grammatically correct.
Right.
Self-care, y'all. Black love.
Self-care, Black love.
It starts within.
Stop hanging out with white people. They're the devil. We out.
Yeah. Now we gonna tell them. That in front. We tell them like this, yo. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a African. Yeah, y'all like that? No more. This man's mind is open. I'm an African. I'm a African. I'm an African. I'm a. Let's get back to the
motive is best developed by recognizing the common enemy.